Hey everyone, your friendly neighbor Pants is back with another Summoners video. Today we have a siege against PhongTrao and DividedWeFall. PhongTrao is definitely the better of the two guilds here. I think historically they tend to beat us. They're also more of a 2-day siege type of guild. They like to do their attacks later in the night, or at least nighttime for me. It might be daytime for them, but at any rate, just knowing their history, I saved my attacks for day 2 of this siege. I ended up doing really well. I'll show you contribution here, 200 contribution, so fair amount of defense wins plus 10 offense wins, and we'll take a look at those offenses and talk about it. So you can see here, this is the end of Armistice going into the start of day 2, and they do have the lead. They do have a lot more towers, and so I'm certainly glad that I saved my attacks and didn't just overextend and cost us things. The nice things about going into Armistice is I was able to see the defenses that I was going to hit and prep offenses for them. So I moved runes onto this Miang Dova Lucian comp, Dova being a new unit that I summoned recently, hence the level 12 status we have there. And then Miang just to help guarantee that I get turn 1, because of course they have the 33 lead and people can have like 300 speed to spare irises and that kind of thing. So want to avoid any opportunity for them to outspeed me. Additionally, Tessarion is, he's got self-damage reduction and that sort of thing, so I want someone that could potentially prevent Tessarion from soloing, and Miang is a pretty good monster to do that. I moved a Violent Destroy set on her, just in case Tessarion decided to pop off and kill both the Tion and the Lucian. Miang could probably hold her own and finish him off. So immediately after that win, you can see I'm moving runes over to Lucian number 2 with different damage dealt on stats. We're going for damage dealt on water instead of what I had on him previously, and that is because I'm going to attack a Xerath, Nana, and Ariel, and I want to make sure the Ariel and Nana die, so going for heavy damage dealt on water. Now this I kind of regret using because I brought Mirane into this and it just ended up being overkill. I feel like this defense actually didn't have any wind reduction on it whatsoever because the Lucian just completely eats him alive. I think I'm hitting that Ariel for like 21k per card, which is, I'm pretty sure that's, just no wind reduction. Or maybe they have wind reduction, but it's canceled out by my water reduction, but I don't know. I kind of doubt it. I think it's kind of an awkward defense. I feel like they could come up with something better with their Xerath and Nana than Ariel. She's not a particularly good defense unit. I would take Ariel out of that. So next up, I wanted to hit another LD5 defense in this tower. So we got Tianlang, Savannah, Perna, and I'm bringing Tessarion, Leo, and Jean, which kind of hard counters it. Tessarion, of course, preventing all 3 passives. Leo completely nerfing Savannah skill 3. And then Jean to just help control and protect the Leo, because really the scare here is the Leo getting defense broken and Perna just like violent proccing once and killing the Leo, and then all of a sudden Savannah is not nerfed nearly as much. So I do have my Leo built for Savannahs, like I have them high defense to prevent that kind of defense break. So the only way Leo could get defense broken is through Tianlang skill 1, and I also have them built with relatively high resistance paired with the resistance lead. So it's kind of built for purposes of Savannah. Like I want to just completely nullify any RNG Savannah could throw at me, and I do that via my runes and Leo just being Leo. Anyways, it was a comfortable win here. Again, I'm recording on my phone, so sorry about notifications, but this has been more convenient for me at least. So I'm not going to solo this tower. You see Eevee here is hitting this Tianlang with his own Leo kind of offense, but I will hit this Nana, Coco, Iris, which is offense or defense I've never seen before. Kind of unique, but it still just loses to Galleon, Tiana, Poseidon relatively easily. It's just such an OP offense. As long as you land, I mean, really, even if you just land 1 of your defense breaks, you're probably going to be fine. Also, like, Coco is a delayed gratification kind of unit, so like even though I didn't reduce the attack bar on Coco, all she did was use her skill 3. So she was like relying on a violent proc in addition to resisting. So I feel like Coco is not a particularly great defense unit either. More of a great offense unit. All right, so next we got more LDs, hitting lots of LD5s in this siege. PT owns quite a bit of them, so lucky them. But at any rate, her type Vigor Triana, I've actually used Bulwark, Molong, Wusa type offenses before into this, and it's always kind of risky. We had the Ilea buff recently to where her skill 3 cleanses, and I think that makes her just like perfect here, like significantly better than Wusa. The cleanse is just incredibly powerful to take out the defense break or the heal block that might happen to land. Other than that, it's the same kind of strategy where you just kill Triana ASAP and then try and keep people alive while her Titan Vigor just goes smacking on you. So you can kill her Titan as quickly as possible and then save Vigor for last. Again, I lost with it a handful of times using Wusa. The thing about Ilea is she has a lot more buffs, one of them being the defense buff to help, nullify some of their damage, especially when you're not defense broken. And then she's got immunity healing. She just gets Bulwark to max stacks significantly faster than I think Amelia or Wusa could ever hope to do. Like, she just has so much more buffs, and that cleanse really just set her over the edge. So I plan to use Ilea with this offense more often here on out. I still really like Wusa because Wusa has, the additional damage in his skill 2 that the Ilea doesn't have. Ilea has like no damage whatsoever, but in this particular defense, I feel like she's superior to Wusa. Alright, so next up we have this Tessarion, Riley, and Miles. Riley is just hard countered by Bulwark, so I wanted right away to just pick Bulwark Molong again. This time I'm going with Wusa. I think this could still lose if Miles pops off. I mean, I've fought a Miles defense before where I think he took 4 turns in a row, and that's just too much damage for like anyone to withstand because Miles hits pretty damn hard with that his passive. So if you don't have Leo along and he takes that many turns in a row, you're just asking for trouble. He's also the only strip on this team, so I wanted to kill him first. Luckily was able to manage that pretty easily. From there, I have my immunity and shields and a ton of healing because Riley's just giving me so many buffs for Bulwark. There's no heal block to worry about from like a Dominic or Vigor, which, man, the heal block is always so annoying. Like if I bring Bulwark and then Vigor just heal blocks and it's like I can't get the healing that I need. But here there's none of that, so I feel like this counters this team pretty well. The only fear is those early Miles violent procs. If he just goes crazy and kills someone or just stun locks you, something like that, to where you can never get Molong or Bulwark to do what they need to do in order for you to kill the Miles. I think that's the way this offense loses. Otherwise, this defense isn't that difficult of one. I feel like Triana is just better than Riley on defense in most cases. Alright, so we're hitting the same exact defense as before. This time we're going to be using Bulwark, Tessarion, and Riley. Again, the Bulwark just hard countering. In this case, Tessarion will be tanking the Miles rather well and doing the Oblivion on his passive, so even though Miles can hit hard with the no Leo being here, the Oblivion should be on him often enough that it shouldn't matter too much. Plus, the damage from Tessa coupled with Bulwark's skill 3, taking out half his health or whatever, should be a dead Miles rather quickly, and I do get that. Anytime Tessarion violent procs on your team is just like, I feel like you just win. Like, it only takes one, because Tessarion's in defense, I don't know, often enough seem kind of dumb to me, like as far as their targeting, unlike a Theo that you can't predict the targeting and he just always chooses the right monster. Tessarion's targeting is kind of dumb. That's why sometimes mirror matches can work, because like this is a pseudo mirror. We both have Tessarion, Riley, and then just a different water unit, but his Tessarion's going after my Riley, which is just giving me totems, and I don't really care if Riley gets Oblivion. She has so much support skills already that it just doesn't really matter. I can focus all my attention on Miles and then switch over to the Tessarion and then save Riley for last, which will be no threat whatsoever and just die slowly. Alright, so this next one I'll admit is a bit risky with the Orion bringing this Kamoon, Elucia, Lulu. If I get stripped and defense broken, the Ayunu and Kinky together could potentially kill someone at the start. The thing is, if they don't do that, there's pretty much a 0% chance that they win. Like, they don't come back from that. Orion has to do something at the start with an offense like this in order for them to win, because even if, like, let's say Orion did strip and defense break, if they didn't have enough damage to kill, you're probably going to have a full recovery and then control the Orion the rest of the game, kill the Ayunu rather quickly with Kamoon, and then it's a 2v3 that they just won't win. I don't think it's a perfect offense. I think some type of cleave would be better. Like, cleaving Orion to me is just the safest option always, because there's always a way that Orion will find a way to screw you. But in an offense like this, if he doesn't screw you at the start, I think you're probably going to be fine. And the vast majority of the time, he won't completely screw you. It's not 100%, but it's probably a 90% comp. And It worked for the monsters I had available to me, and I just transferred over some like wind reduction artifacts onto my Lulu and Alucia, just to minimize the chances of dying at the beginning, because Ayunu's really the scary damage. Kinky can hit hard, but Ayunu can hit insanely hard, so wind reduction is definitely the way to go here. This next one is a Nana Savannah Geo Gun. I think I actually have lost with this exact offense against this exact defense before. Geo Gun can sometimes just, pull some magic out of his hat and make the right unit go away and land all of his strips. Here at the start, he just does a skill 1, which is always kind of funny to see, but as long as you kill the fire unit first, this offense tends to beat this type of defense almost every time. It's really just the fire unit popping off that has caused me to lose with this offense before. There's the Juno or the Perna or the Ken. There's been different versions of this defense. I don't know what the best one is. They all have their strengths and weaknesses. Rakan is a new one that people can do. I really like Perna, I think, just because it's, a built-in second life and built-in healing in addition to damage and strip. I think Perna is just the best one, but all of them have their strengths and weaknesses that, you can find success with. So I don't think this defense is going to leave the meta anytime soon. They're still just 3 good units paired together. They have everything you want in a defense with 2 different AoE defense breakers, lots of damage, some control, especially if you have someone ruined on like Despair, additional lives. It's solid. Not perfect. It's definitely an older meta defense, so people have counters to it, but it's still, it's been getting wins for me all season long, so I don't plan on changing it out for anything anytime soon unless I summon something nicer. Fang Velajul Talc, if you happen to own Fang and Velajul, works really well. Alright, so this last one we have is Odin, Draco, and Theomars. I'm bringing Sierra, Seongsul, and Alucia. Pulling out another Alucia unit I recommend people build dupes of. She works so well in so many places. Anyways, here Seongsul will prevent the Draco from using his, or not using his buffs, but obtaining his buffs whenever he does use the skill 3. And then Alucia can control one of the threats while Sierra kills. The risk here is Sierra is just kind of squishy. There's nothing preventing them from targeting her. Odin will target one of the water monsters, but if he does get to max stacks, he could target the Sierra. And then also the risk is just not landing bombs. And so you want to make sure your Sierra is built on 100 crit rate. That way you can cycle turns and have more opportunities to put bombs on people. You want to roll the dice more than once. You want to roll it as many times as you can to get the roll that you want it to roll. Sierra built on 100 crit rate is the best Sierra for sure. And other than that, it's just a matter of moving your Swift set onto Seongsul, like your fastest Swift set, just to guarantee outspeeding. You probably don't need to go overkill and move your fastest set because they don't have a speed lead. I usually do just for safety's sake. Like, I don't want any chance of getting outsped. So I'll do a fast Swift Seongsul and then violence on the Sierra and Alucia, and it tends to work out pretty well. The only times it doesn't is if like Draco derps at the start and they just have perfect AI and Theo procs like mad. Other than that, it tends to work. That's all for this siege. We got a nice 10-0, 200 contribution. Again, my defenses that are still getting me wins are the Nana, Savannah, Perna, and the Sierra, Ryan, Rakan. That's basically the only defenses I have that do anything like remotely good. I get occasional ones with others, but those are my only 2 so far this season. But yeah, that's all for this one. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.